Crumpets is a set of 9 bite-sized Boom-compatible maps designed to be played from a pistol start. The levels are small, typically 50 to 100 monsters apiece, and loosely follow a Plutonia/Marble Ribbons aesthetic. Many of its combat scenarios require strategic planning, as you lack the ammunition to simply go wild. This video will tell you all you need to know about this masterpiece, and why it is greatly praised in the Doom community. In the beginning was the Word, and before there was Crumpets, there was of course Rivix. This mapper was an absolute phenomenon to the community, and had already put out several projects that took it all by storm. Swim with the Whales, an example of a project made previously, was a tsunami of personality. It had its own dark blue colour palette, with the theme relying heavily on a deep sea-like aesthetic. Likewise with Stardate 20x6. However, Rivix decided to make this 3 years in advance. However, with these art pieces, there came a cost, a barrier to entry, as some may say. Many people know that Rivix had his own art style to his maps, which made him stand out, although there was one thing that was much bigger than this. This was the difficulty of the maps, and they played a huge part in making his maps notorious. Ultra-violence for these kind of WODs is absolutely no joke, and the fights weren't just memorable for how they were organised, but for rather how crushing they were. It takes a lot of grinding and thorough planning to get through these gauntlets, and some even go on to break their keyboards and have horrible nightmares to these maps. Although, one day in 2015, the Doom community told him to cook, and so Rivix went to his local grocery store, picked up a British delicacy, and he just slapped those buns right in the toaster. In approximately 50 hours of cooking, you think he would have burnt his whole house down. But nope, out came this masterpiece, and that, of course, was Crumpets.wad. Crumpets was an absolute hit, as it went on to win the 2015 CAC Awards later that year. In fact, I think it was such a hit that it revolutionized a new type of gameplay within Doom. It uses an emphasis on small map layout design, being the bite-sized maps, meaning fights can become very claustrophobic and also dehydrated of ammo. Rivix also combines this with something called combat puzzle, in which you need to strategize against specific enemies in order to progress through the map. This teaches you a lot about things like prioritization and ammo management. The odds are still truly against you though, as most of the time you'll be overwhelmed by low to mid tier enemies. However, what makes Crumpets different from the rest of Rivix's work is that it's pretty manageable for the most part on the hard difficulty, being ultra-violence. That's not to say that these maps won't kick you around, cause oh boy, they most likely will on first playthrough. Crumpets immediately introduces you to its monotone theme, with a heavy emphasis on being a brown and greenish colours. A small map at the start takes you to a quiet, desolate environment, in which the title suggests that you'll be drinking a cup of Earl Grey tea. The challenge is simple: shoot the switch and drink up. As you'll see, the roster stays the exact same, but higher tier enemies become more common as you dive deeper into the WOD. The second map of Crumpets, aka Flutter, has lots of imps, a few hit scanners, and the occasional tanky enemy, in which you are forced to waste ammo or engage infighting to survive. Then another map straight after, called Tiramisu, begins to throw archviles at you, which spices up the challenge even more. To me, the first half is more the warm-up half. The challenge that arises almost suddenly is what causes you to change your route of plan. If beating in a single segment, it may cause you to practice specific areas, meaning that you're essentially planning your fights before you take them on. However, once you get a rhythm of playing through the maps, it becomes easier. This is what I truly love about Crumpets. The whole layout is specifically designed to be non-linear, sometimes even optional, and it teaches you to scrap your weaker ideas and construct them into less penetrable ones. Earlier, I mentioned that the first half is the warm-up. Well, let's talk about where the true fun begins. The second half of Crumpets is where the WOD doesn't mess around. Rivix goes all out, testing your metal with unique counters and challenges each map. Masquerade, the first of these Titan maps, throws you into severely claustrophobic fights, in which you need to strategically rocket your way out of them. Later, you get the BFG, in which you can use to take down the two cybers that ambush you. Then there's Frog and Toad, a series of fights in which you need to seriously plan for. Talking about the fight with the imps, Val and Mancubus. The Val fight at the end can go horribly wrong if ammo isn't used correctly, so make sure those BFG shots count. Then there's Shamu, a map that not only expands on the foundations, but also on the layout. This is where it throws everything at you, ranging from archvile ambushes to cyber demons, and of course, claustrophobic fights. What makes this map so hard is your lack of BFG. In all the other maps, you're given a BFG to help reduce the hordes down to manageable chunks. However, this map shows no mercy on the player. Instead, you have to plasma down the remaining enemies, as well as use all the other weapons that you have. Yet again, all your shots count here, as there is a lack of ammo. And the final map is just a spectacle of its own. Crackerjack would have made a single great map. However, combined with all these art pieces, it serves as the magnum opus, where it really paints on a canvas ranging from several secrets to challenging fights. You really ought to play Crumpets for yourself in order to get the full experience of it. And once you've swayed your way through this gauntlet, you come out as a much more experienced version of yourself at Doom than you were before. Overall, Crumpets is a masterpiece, and you should absolutely play it after this video ends. Not only does it improve your skills and knowledge of the game through dramatic, inducing fights, but it also provides you with a detailed story through its bite-sized maps. Once again, it shows the abilities some map makers have on transforming the gameplay along with its aesthetics. Wads like Crumpets are the reason why Ribix is so prominent in the Doom community and has been for the last decade. It's unfortunate that he is now retired from Doom mapping. However, he has left several influences on the community. Even nowadays, maps and wads such as Junk Food 2 have levels inspired by this masterpiece. I want to leave this on an idea that if you have a bright idea for your map, then absolutely go for it. You never know what could happen. You may even surpass your inspirations.